$686,492.41. We had,
And so the original total, I added the 160 to it because it was not an actual check, it was a wire. So,
gotcha.
and that was for Northwest Corridor.
Okay, yeah. And Northwest Corridor is part of the Heartland 24?
Yes.
Yep.
That's the Series 1999 bonds, A and B.
Okay.
That'd be for the water tower?
Yes. And we pay our part and county pays their part.
I said we had some insurance payments come out. Those were a couple of big payments this time. And then also our payment to the county
Yes.
for dispatch
Yeah.
was another $200,000 almost.
170.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it seemed like the bulk of our large items that kind of brought this up this week to a larger amount.
That always happens in June, but also we get our tax settlements in June too. So more money in, but money out.
Right.
So.
Okay. All right. Is there any other questions from the board on the city's claims?
Nope.
Is there any questions from the public? All right. Do I have a motion to accept the payment of the claims?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Motion passes. We're going to move on to the blight claims. Let's see here. We have blight claims, $2,825. So we have ProTech is on here. Is that correct? Recording. Is ProTech the company that we fired?
I believe so.
Are we paying them?
The testing,
I think so.
were they the initial ones we hired, or the second one?
I think they're
No, ProTech is the initial one that we had trouble with.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think we should be paying this.
That's up to you, Mayor.
Well, since I told them on the phone to go ahead and get their lawyer because I'm not going to pay this. Yeah, this, we don't have Rebecca, or I'm sorry, Brenda. Is she the one that turned in this?
Yes.
She's trying to sneak it past me. Yeah, we have other asbestos claims we're going to be opening tonight. The 2,825 reflects basically what we agreed to. But they're not giving us what we asked for this either, though.
Right.
So.
Right, unless we pay the rest of it.
Right.
Or pay for the stuff that wasn't in the bid,
Right.
then they're not releasing the initial
Do
part.
you want to bring the public up to snuff on what's going on there? 'Cause
Yeah.
It sounds a little vague, but it
Right.
should be.
Right. So for the public and whatnot, last time we opened bids for the asbestos inspections as per the blood elimination process. The winning bid, after we awarded it, they gave us an invoice that was, what, 3 or 4 times the size of the bid that was accepted. And we asked questions about that, and they said, well, we found out that we need to do additional testing. And so we said, well, the bid that we asked for was for you to do all the testing. It wasn't, this much until you get there and decide to do this much. Previous asbestos bids, it was the bid amount that was awarded during the meeting was the amount that we paid. It wasn't something that we got a different price later. So we informed them that if that was the price that they insisted on for the work done, that we're going to have to go with somebody else because it broke our bid requirements. But they did send a invoice regardless. So I would say, if nothing else, we table this.
I believe there's something else on there though.
There is a $440 record fee.
I would say, if I could make a suggestion,
Mhm.
to approve that one,
Yeah,
because that could hold the entire process up. So separate those out and approve that one, and then table Protec.
Are we
Okay.
able to do that?
You can
Yeah.
do whatever you want, you're the board.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, yeah. Not just you, we are the board, so
oh.
it's gotta be everybody on board. So,
Brenda said it's not for the Rotec for the asbestos inspections that there were problems with. She said no.
That's the same
Maybe call
company.
her.
oh, so same company, but different round of,
Can we call her?
Yeah, where's the paperwork that's on that line item so that we know exactly what we're talking about? Do we have that anywhere?
Pardon me,
The paperwork that is for
Basically
that
the invoice.
item?
I didn't put it with this, no.
okay. I mean, I don't think that it would hurt, to wait another 2 weeks for the Protec, if it's money that we do need to pay them. I'm leery about approving any payment to Protec right now. That, the 440 for, the 8 blight homes to be recorded at $55 each, I think you're right. We can go ahead and separate those out and approve those payments. But I think there's too many questions revolving around that other payment. So, any more questions about that from the board?
No.
Any questions from the public? Comment? Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the payment to the Miami County Recorders, the $440?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. All right.
Do we need to make a motion to table?
Jane?
I don't think that we,
Not here, and we're not sure, so we're taking it.
yeah, I don't know that we necessarily need to table the other one. It's not an individual item.
Brenda says it's a different company, that the one we had trouble with was PSI. They're on the phone with her.
That's
Does
right.
that sound more familiar?
That does
Yes.
sound familiar.
Okay.
The one guy was here, the other guy was not, and the ones that did not answer the questions or fill out what we'd asked for. But Protec was here, or whatever, that was
Okay.
Protec?
So this
I don't
must be the
remember.
ones that we gave it to and took
Yes.
away from the other company?
Yes.
Yeah, she said TSI out of Indy was, just a second. You talk, you're going to be on speaker.
PSI out of Indianapolis was the company that we went to because Protec only bid on six of the 9 houses.
Oh.
Even though Protec had the lowest bid originally, when we got PSI's bid, which had all 9 of the houses,
Intertech
it
PSI.
was a little bit higher, but it was a complete bid. They're the ones that did a change order for an extra $3,000. So
Okay.
we opted out of continuing our contract with them, went back to Protec, and that's what that bill is for.
Okay,
That's better.
all right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brenda.
You're welcome. Thanks, Stephanie.
All right.
Call me.
Call me maybe. Okay, well, I guess we can do another motion to accept the payment to Protec
Yeah.
for the asbestos inspections, $2,385.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so all the blight elimination claims are approved for this week. Oh. Yeah. All right, next, we have the city attorney's report. Do we have anything from the city attorney?
Not at this time.
Okay. Next, we have Stevie Connolly of the Corner Lounge with a road closure request for East 6th Street on July 21st from 6 to 11. Is Mr. Connolly or anyone from the lounge here? Okay.
That is Mrs. Connolly.
Sorry,
That's
I
okay.
apologize,
The
Ms.
only thing
Connolly.
that I can tell you that I know about this, she came into my office to do it. That is the same night as, it's a parade night, or not a parade night, a Circus City downtown night.
Mhm.
So I think that road is already closed for other things, and they wanted to use that area after the downtown events, I believe.
Okay. Saturday evening, we would like to have the street by our building to do a band outside for Circus City event from Broadway to the end of our building on 6th Street, from 6 to 11, which I think, from our previous experiences with road closures, we always want to go the full length of the block. Is that how you guys?
That's just because we ran it out now, blocked it halfway down, and people turned in there and there was no way out, so everybody's turning around in the middle of the road trying to get out, so.
Don't
Yeah.
they typically block that off so Gabriel's can get in and out, and then you get
Yeah,
into the
Gabe-
Y parking lot?
Normally that's only blocked down to the Gabriel's parking lot.
Okay.
anyway, Because of Circus that week, that leaves the Y and the city parking lot and Gabriel parking lot open.
Okay.
My question on that is Circus using any of that already planned for other things? It may not be available.
Right.
For Saturday night?
Yes.
Yeah. That is the last night.
The thing with that is, we had a safety meeting this morning, but Kevin and I had already talked about it. We're putting our trucks on the other side on 6th Street, parking our trucks for emergency vehicles there, but on that side, they had it already stuffed up there to where we could, that's the reason we didn't have our trucks on that side of the road. But you have to remember that it's closing up that night and all the traffic from the concession people are trying to get through there, so it could be a problem.
Right, because that's when everybody's closing up and getting their vendors and everything out.
Right, and that's the route that those people usually take. Broadway stays blocked off the whole time, so we use 5th and 6th. 5th is the carnival, and then 6th Street is the way out for the carnies, or for the wagons to get out. So
Mhm.
that's something you might consider.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a tough one. I don't know.
If they done just half of it, left half the road open, that probably wouldn't be a problem as long as we get vehicles in and out of there.
Yeah, and we still need to make sure that Circus doesn't do anything with that area.
Yeah, they've got that short section we just talked about.
They're going to, I'm
They'll-
not sure it's
they'll-
available for them to even use.
Gotcha. Okay.
They need to work that out with Circus, really.
Right. Yeah, I think if nothing else, we need to probably table it and see if it's even feasible with the Circus. I would say either a table or even a denial. I don't know which the board.
I think tabling it, because if there's available space, if they're only gonna use the sidewalk area, maybe we
Right.
don't need the whole road area. If it's already blocked off, it's blocked off for traffic.
Yeah.
Right,
So
and we'll
depending on
meet
how much
again
of the
before
space
this.
that they actually need, if they're just using a band for the sidewalk, that might not interfere with anybody.
Didn't they do this last year though as well? Block it off at some point, maybe not for this,
I
but.
don't really remember if they did or not.
I know Smitty's, they do it every year during Circus, but I don't know that the corner.
I think, didn't they blocked the road for a fundraising event that they had
Okay.
a few
Yes.
months ago.
Okay, I knew they did it for something outdoor band and stuff as well.
There's one that's coming up that we've already approved, that they're gonna be doing the same thing, because we talked about blocking it off at Gabriel's.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe that's the same thing.
Yeah, that was just like, I think
Okay.
it's like the 25th or something.
Okay. All right, so is the board wanting to table this? Is that what?
I think that's
Yeah.
a good
I think that
idea.
makes the most sense.
Okay.
Let her get with the Circus and find out how much space they're needing and if
Okay.
they can work something out. So far as the road closure, it's already gonna be blocked anyway.
Right. Is there any other comment from the public or question on that before we make a motion? Okay. Do I have a motion to table the corner lounge request for road closure?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. All right, so we'll table that. Next, we have Gib Keller of the Knights of Columbus to conduct a fundraiser at the intersection of Main and Miami Street on August 11th. Is that Gib?
That's correct.
Would you like to talk to us about the fundraiser?
Pardon me?
Just talk to us about the fundraiser, or tell us what you guys have in plan?
Every year we have the Knights of Columbus have a Tootsie Roll Drive, and the profits from it go to the special ed teachers in Miami County, all 3 schools. And because they got to buy a lot of supplies, so we help them out. We've done this for 40 years now. And we're also including Special Olympics on a small portion of this too. We got a couple of Special Olympics in our club, and so we felt like we ought to help them out too, Special Olympics. I'm figuring on just running from 8 to 12.
Gotcha.
That seems to be the best time, and then getting harder and harder to get people to help out at the grocery stores to sell Tootsie Rolls, so we're going to try this option, see how it works.
Okay. Is this kind of like what you've done with like the boot and the Salvation Army intersection? Is that what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess Chief or Todd, you guys have any input?
Just go down there that morning, get their cones and set them up. Like we did for all the other groups.
Do you guys have reflective vests?
Yes, we got some.
Okay.
That's all ran through the police department,
Okay.
that they have to get in contact with. Is that right, Mike?
Yeah, there's really no policy about it. We try to recommend the best, and then try not to stop cars, but if someone rolls their window down, you're more than welcome to go approach them even if the light is green.
Yeah.
So, but it's not a deal. We ask you not to go to each individual car as they're stopped at a red light. It's kind of just been the protocol, all of them.
Okay. Is there anything else from our public safety officers or traffic? Any questions from the board? Or, okay, anybody else from the public have questions, comment? All right, do I have a motion to accept Mr. Keller's request on the behalf of the Knights of Columbus to conduct the fundraiser?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you, Mr. Keller. Next, we have a request from Smitty's Pub for a road closure request on July 20th through the 21st for their Cigar City Days tent party. I believe this is probably about the same parameters we've had in the past for the road closure. I know we've done this, I think, every year. At least I've been on.
I can tell you that their neighbor with the storage
Mhm.
units had asked to be put on the mailer to receive Board of Works notifications because he said that he wanted to be here when they asked for this again because he had concerns, but I don't know if he's here. And I just thought I'd bring it to your attention. I
Right.
don't know what the concern, I know nothing,
Yeah.
but
Mr. Combs?
yes.
People parking in his grass, but I believe since they have the fence up there, that the utilities allowed him to construct inside their easement. I don't see that there's been a problem anytime recently, or he hasn't made any notes or comments about it.
I'm the one who received his complaints.
You received the complaints?
Yeah.
Do you know?
It was a long time ago, and it was before the fence was put up.
Was it
Okay.
about trash? I remember him saying something about trash in the parties.
Parking and
Okay.
people, and he came there at night when they were parking there and just being disrespectful to his property.
They would drive through the grass to the
Yeah, they would drive
gravel.
right through it up to where he didn't want them.
Gotcha.
He put a fence up where he didn't want them parking
Okay.
to solve the problem, and we approved that fence.
Okay.
He was properly notified though,
Okay.
yeah,
Gotcha.
so.
And Chief Meeks, that there's people parking on that property and he calls for like a tow, they can tow those, or he has remedies if there's issues there?
Sidewalk, we can tow it from the sidewalk to the road if there's an issue with that, but anything that's on private property, he has the ability to tow it if he chooses to do so.
Okay.
At the cost to the owner of the vehicle, not to him.
Gotcha. Okay. Any other questions from the board on this?
I don't think so.
Is there any questions or concerns from the public or public safety officers? Okay. Do I have a motion to accept Smitty's request for the road closure?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next, we have a request from Peru Fire Chief Mr. Hawk to promote Garrett Shields from probationary firefighter to permanent employee. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Chief?
No, as long as everybody received the letter. Garrett finished off his requirements, his EMT, Inspire 1 and 2, and he's state certified now, so.
Is there any questions from the board or chief?
No.
Any questions, comments, or concerns from the public? Okay. Do I have a motion to accept promotion of Mr. Shields?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Eric. Next, we have Chief Meeks with a request to approve revised SOPs for the Peru Police Department. Chief, would you like to talk to us about those?
Yes. As you know, I had approached the Board of Works I think it was 2 meetings ago, actually, to approve our revised SOPs. They were actually, as Mayor knows and as Tish knows, they were a long time to revise all those. It took me probably 6 months plus to actually revise them. In the process, we did have a couple typos, but then we also had a couple things that when we did one policy, then we went to the next, well, things happened within 6 months. So it's on me that I did not revisit a couple of these SOPs before I submitted them. So in general order number 7, which is our use of force, the main thing that changed in that is the weapons that we now use. We changed weapons, and those now, this new policy or this revised policy dictates the weapons that we actually carry rather than what we had previously carried as well. A couple other things too is we removed a little bit of verbiage in here. It doesn't change anything. It's just policies or procedures we already do, so it didn't really need to be in here. So it was just a cleaning up of the SOP number 7. And then as far as general order number 5, that's our discipline policy. And within that, there's a matrix, and it talks about if you violate certain policies, it stays on your record for 1 year. And there's certain policies or certain procedures, certain policies when violated stay on your record for 3 years, and some stay for 5 years. When the discipline matrix was retyped, it all dictated that it all stayed on for 1 year. So we had to retype that to show the 3-year and the 5-year span as well, if that makes sense. You can ask any questions about that. If it doesn't make sense, I can spell it out a little bit better maybe.
So the new matrix, all the disciplines stay on for 1 year, and with the old one, there was different ranks and how long it stayed on?
The original one that we had was 1, 3, and 5. When we retyped it, we accidentally put all of them as 1.
Oh,
so we went back
okay.
to what it should be, what the 1, 3, and 5. So
Gotcha.
basically, if you commit something that's a lesser violation, then it stays on your record for 1 year. If it's more serious, then it stays on for 3. So basically, then if you recommit within that 1 year or that 3-year span, then you're disciplined at a higher discipline level. Maybe is the best way to put that.
Gotcha. Okay. So, number 7 is you said use of force, some language on the use of force. And the number 5 is to change how long things stay on the record for punishment on the matrix.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any questions from the board?
Thank you for being vigilant on these SOPs, Chief.
Thank you.
Is there any way we can get a copy of, like, we went through this with Mr. Hawk too, like, as far as the changes, so we can actually see, because we're not familiar with any of your SOPs. To be able to, like, have an old one and a new one, and have them highlighted so we can, like, look at what was different, because, like, there's been a couple things in the past that, you know, they're like, oh, nothing's changed, but yet there were a lot of things that were changed.
Certainly.
So just so we can actually have it in front of us to be able to see the difference from one to the other.
Certainly.
Is there any way we can do
I'll do that in
that?
the future, for sure.
Red lined?
Red line?
Yeah.
Well, and I think you have done some of that in the software, but when you just print something out, it all looks the same, so it's harder to see that red correction.
Certainly. Okay.
Yeah, and I apologize, I haven't seen these specific SOPs to see exactly what you're talking about, so.
I haven't either. So-
That's kind of on me, not.
Although,
Okay.
Chief, you emailed them with plenty of time, so thank you for that.
I thought you folks would just sit there and read those all night long.
I'm sorry,
Hurts my
I
feelings.
did not get that far.
Is there any other questions from the board?
No, like I said, I just appreciate your vigilance. And if there's anything we can do to help you with that, let us know.
Thank you.
Is there any questions from the public? you comfortable voting on it tonight, or do you want to table that?
I would as soon look at it,
Okay,
just because I mean, I honestly have not even, I've not seen it.
okay.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and table it, then I can actually, I have a copy of the things that I did change, just in case you wanted to go line by line, but I will go ahead and I'll send you the old version, like you said, and then I'll show you the
It
changes.
just makes
I've been
sense because like, if I hate like making a decision on something without even like knowing what the original was.
making. Certainly. Can I send you mine with the scribbles on it? Is that fair enough?
That works.
That works, okay, okay.
I think
Very good.
Steve needs scribbles.
I just think it makes more sense to me. I think to see what was changed
But in the
and why.
future, I'll go with what our attorney said. I'll redline it or highlight it or something to show you it's changed.
Okay,
I appreciate that.
yeah. Will that affect you as far as like, if we have to wait a couple weeks, is that gonna be any issue?
The only part that would be the part with the guns that we carry currently. So, I mean, we do carry a different type of gun than what the SOP states right now.
Oh, okay.
And so,
Do you want to take a look at that right now so we can help out with that?
So with the SOP describing the sidearm that the police officers carry, does that basically describe so that they're not carrying another issue of some other weapon that's not what they're being trained on? Is that basically the gist of that?
correct. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I know you probably want to see it. Do you want me to go through and just tell you the changes that I've made? Will that help?
Is that,
Yeah, I just haven't had
No,
a chance to
and I
look at it.
understand, I understand.
so
I
don't
just
wanna
need to
go-
know,
Sure.
kind of based on what you said, if it's not too time consuming, I
Okay.
think. Okay, do you happen to have the copy of it by any chance with you?
I have the discipline matrix, but I don't think the copy of the SOP.
No, there's nothing in here on the SOPs.
Will you feel comfortable if you do it this way to approve, or?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, I guess maybe you could hear what I say and then we can maybe go from there.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, under use of deadly force, it talks about approved police officer may not, and there was a line in there and it says discharge any shots at or from a moving vehicle, I'm sorry, discharge any shots at or from a vehicle unless the offender is employing deadly force against the officer or another citizen, and, I just want to take out the "and" because there was another line that we totally took out. The line that we took out says that a police officer may not use non-deadly force against a person who is merely verbally abusive. So, it's saying you can't use non-deadly force against a person who's verbally abusive. It's kind of a common sense thing. We're not going to go up and beat on somebody because they're yelling at us, or we're not going to go up there and tase somebody because they're yelling at us. So that's the line that's been taken out of there. When it talks about a discharge report, so if we were to happen to use our firearms in the line of duty, excluding when we're in training, when we have an investigative procedure, so if our officers would get involved in a police action shooting, line number 5 in there said the Uniform Patrol Division and the Detective Division will discharge their responsibilities as such to relate to any criminal investigation. Kind of a common sense thing, so we took it out. Personnel will be responsible to identify and pursue a referral for prosecution of suspects involved in the shooting incident. Common sense thing, we took that out. As you continue on, and it talks about use of force incidents, it talks about when an officer is involved in a police action shooting, it talks about people that we can talk to it about, and one person or one group is a CISM team member, which is a critical incident team member. We don't have a critical incident team, so that was removed. Later on, it talks about when an officer is under investigation for a police action shooting, it says it is not mandatory that the officer involved be advised of his Miranda rights unless the interview is conducted. Jeez, I can't speak tonight, I apologize. It is not mandatory that the officer involved be advised of his Miranda rights unless the interview is custodial in nature, which is common in police work. If you're under custody, you have to read them the rights. If they're not, they're not. So, common sense thing there as well. Then I go on and it talks about the guns. The guns were changed in both the shotguns and the handguns. And then it also talks about when we're in training, it talks about that we have to train 3 times a year, and one of those may be in a night shoot. We changed that, or it said will be in a night shoot. We changed that to may be in a night shoot. And lastly, it talks about if an officer is actually shooting his weapon in a training scenario, and he does not qualify with his weapon, he can be put under a disciplinary action. And I don't feel like...
Can be?
He can be. I don't feel like an officer needs to be disciplined. I feel like he needs to be trained. I don't know what you would discipline him for if he was once proficient in his weapon and now he's not. I think it's probably something either mentally, physically is wrong with him, and I don't see why you would punish that person for having a deficiency in that area. So that was taken out. And then I think this is lastly, this is the last thing that I see here. It talks about the secondary firearms and ammunition we use. We talk about our primary gun, which is the one that I'm carrying right now, but the secondary weapon, it just used to say that the officer had to qualify and register his gun with the department, and I changed that to say that he must be able to show proficiency with the weapon. The officer must get written approval from the chief of police prior to being able to carry this secondary weapon on duty, which is something we've always done as our policy before. Not sure why that changed, but we changed that back to that. So once again, I know that was a lot. It's probably a lot to absorb. I don't know if it all made sense.
It does.
If it didn't? Okay. And those are the changes that we were going to make. So nothing that's, in my opinion, of a serious nature. Like I said, some common sense things, just cleaning it up a little bit.
I do have one question. If we change the language where an officer may be disciplined for not being proficient with his weapon or his firearm and take that out, if there were to be a situation where an officer for some reason wasn't proficient with the weapon and the training didn't address it, what recourse would you have to tell that officer, well, you know, you're not proficient in this, we have to let you go?
I think that's a great question. I think that we would probably just have to find out what was wrong. If it's, like I said, if it's emotional, if it's physical, if it's what's going on with that officer. You know, why is he not fit for duty anymore when he once was able to shoot his weapon? So
you feel like you have sufficient avenues to take care of an issue like that?
I do, yes. Like I said, first off, we'd put him back into retrain him and train him and train him and train him until our firearms instructor could determine the fact that maybe there's just something else going on that isn't physical with him. Whether it's sending him down to to get a psychological exam, see if there's something going on there. You know, did something happen with him that we don't know about that involves a firearm? So there are avenues that we would go with, yes. I mean,
So you just took out the punishment part of it.
correct.
You just get him help and figure it out and not punish him for it.
Okay.
And then maybe it's a deal where this officer would need to be pensioned off. Maybe there's something that's, like I said,
Right.
we have to figure out what's going on.
Right. Okay.
Thank you very much for that, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. And I think that's good for the public record, too, so everybody understands what's going on. Kristen?
Good.
Any questions from the public? Any comments? Okay. So we want to approve of the changes to the Peru Police Department's SOPs. Have a
Do you feel
motion?
okay about that?
Is that,
Yeah.
we
Do you
good?
want some time to look
No,
over
it all made sense. I mean, there wasn't anything in there I had a question about. You answered my question
Right.
about what would you do if you have an officer that couldn't do it anymore?
Right.
And that would be addressed in a different way, not in an SOP.
Yeah.
You didn't vote to table it, so you wouldn't have to remove it.
Right.
There's no vote on that.
Yeah. But if board's good with voting,
Yes.
so I have a motion to accept the changes of the SOP.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Next, we have Chief Meeks with a request to accept approval of punishment from Sal for violating General Order 5 from the Peru Police Department. You want to talk about that, Mike?
Yeah, if I could, I'll just go ahead and read the letter that I submitted to you. As each of you know, the Peru Board of Public Works and Safety meet twice a month. As part of these meetings, it is expected that I attend on behalf of the Peru Police Department. However, there will be times I may not be able to attend and will designate another officer to attend in my absence. On June 15, 2018, there was a scheduled Board of Public Works and Safety meeting. I was aware of the meeting and what was on the agenda to be discussed at the meeting. Those items listed on the agenda included the payment of claims, a request for a road closure by a local business, a request for a road closure by a local church, a promotion request made by me for an officer within the Peru Police Department, a request to accept an officer's voluntary resignation of rank. I failed to attend the meeting and also failed at delegating someone to attend my absence. The 5 items listed above are items that I should have been in attendance for to allow the need or possible need for my input. In reviewing the Peru Police Department Standard Operating Procedures, I violated General Order Number 5 2B11, which states employees of the Peru Police Department will not be absent from any mandated activity or their duty assignment without authorization of their immediate supervisor. This violation is a Class B offense. This is my first offense in the Class B category. According to the discipline matrix of discipline policy, this is a 2-point violation. The presumptive sanction for this violation is a written reprimand. I respectfully request the Peru Board of Works and Safety to accept and approve my punishment. I apologize for my actions and feel this is warranted and fair punishment for my actions. If I could just further expand on that then too, I mean, that meeting was a very, very important meeting for Josh Lurie especially. I mean, that was probably the highlight of his career at this point, to be promoted. I was very embarrassed. I was very disappointed with myself for missing that meeting. And then, like I said, I know there were other items that you folks asked for approval. I'm sorry, you members asked for approval for, or you'll ask myself or Chief Hawk on a lot of these road closures and such like that. As you may or may not recall, as part of the discipline policy, you have to be notified of any written reprimand or punishment there of a higher punishment. Verbal consultations are not, so we usually just keep those in-house and we deal with that. So that's why I wanted to notify you of this. So it's also obviously a weird dynamic too, because I'm punishing myself, and so it's kind of odd that I usually punish people that are, I don't want to say lesser than me, but lesser than the chief of police in rank, I should say. So I'm asking you to punish me, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I don't know, it's kind of odd. So, and as you know, I usually would call you, tell you, email you to let you know that we are going through the written reprimand policy with the other officers that we have. So I guess I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, no, I applaud you. Like we've said before, you know, we always try to keep a higher standard, and, you know, keeping those standards for ourselves sometimes is the hardest thing to do. So I think it's pretty admirable that you, you know, stand up, take recognition where you feel like you made a mistake, and are holding that standard. And I think that sets a good precedent for all of the officers that look to you for leadership. So I appreciate that. So.
Absolutely.
Still doesn't make it right, you missed the meeting.
Believe me, I know.
No, I do appreciate that, and this was a surprise to me to see this. So.
I'm glad you said that, because I don't want the public to think that you talked to me and told me that I had to do this,
right.
Because that's simply not the case.
Yeah, no, that it was a surprise to see this on the agenda. So, but I can see where you're coming from here, and I think this just reflects how seriously you take the responsibility and how you want to keep the standard held high, even when you see it, you know, a possible misstep on your own part. So I commend you for that too. Is there any questions from the board?
I think you explained it really well, Chief, and Mayor, you responded what I was thinking exactly, so.
Is there any question or comment from the public? Okay. Do I have a motion to accept Chief Meek's letter of punishment?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye? All right. Thank you, Chief. Next, we also have another request from the Chief of Police, a letter of recommendation. I believe this is a Charlie Perez is moving on. Is that what this is?
He is. Actually, he's going to the Carmel Police Department. Him and his wife have already moved down there, actually, and she works down in that area, so it's a good thing for them. I know he's excited about starting his career down there with the Carmel Police Department. So, yes, he did submit a letter, and I just wanted to make the board aware and ask for you to approve his letter of resignation from the Peru Police Department.
I think see him go, he's a really good guy.
He's a good guy. I agree. Good officer.
Very good officer.
Definitely Carmel's gain.
Yes, it is.
So.
Do you want to read the letter, Mayor?
Sure. I can read the letter. Dear Chief, I have been extended the opportunity to work for Carmel Police Department, and will sadly be relinquishing my position with the PPD. It has been an honor and a privilege to work side by side with the officers of the PPD. The community and its officers have taught me so much in the last 3 years. Thank you all for the priceless moments I've shared with the department, and wish you all the best and what's to come for the city of Peru. Sincerely, Charlie Perez. Or, I'm sorry, Charlie Pelzel. Sorry. Should have had you read it.
You did great. You did great.
Any other questions from the board?
I think it's telling that when we do have officers that voluntarily leave, they always leave with really positive things to say about our force, and
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any question or comment from the public? Okay. Do I have a motion to accept request for, how does it put?
If we don't accept it, does he have to stay?
Good question. Yeah, also, I just don't know how exactly to word it.
Voluntary resignation.
Is it a voluntary resignation? Okay. A letter to accept, or a motion to accept the voluntary resignation of Officer Pelzo. Do I have a motion for it?
So moved.
Oh, Steve, I know that was hard for you. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you, Chief. And I believe we have an addition to the, agenda. We have bids for the asbestos remediation.
Ooh, thank
Are we making a motion to add this, or can we just add?
Yeah, let's make a motion. Do I have a motion to add the opening of the bids for asbestos removal to the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excuse me.
Do you have a vote?
Did I say it already? Aye.
All right,
I
the
wrote
motion
it down,
passes.
I thought you did. Maybe I heard it.
Read it.
It was reminded.
In your
of
heart.
mind's eye, yeah. There we go.
Okay, so, do we know how many, we said we got two?
Looks like we have two companies.
Okay.
We have ProTech again, and we have A&G Environmental.
Okay, let me see my,
And who was the other one? Angie?
okay. And ProTech is not the company
And ProTech is
that
not
we
the
had
company.
issues
Yes.
with.
I'm glad that we
Yes.
clarified that. I feel bad that I was wrong about that.
No, it's-
So if you're watching, sorry, ProTech.
Oh.
Okay, so the first one is ProTech, 306 West Canal. They bid $975.68.
975.
$975.68. The next is 117 South Fremont Street, $565.94.
65,
94.
thank you.
186 West 7th Street, they say no asbestos present. 378 East Main, $585.68. 113 West 8th Street, no asbestos present. 68 South Clay, no asbestos present. 118 East 9th Street, $3,582.17. 63 West 3rd Street, $593.24. 456 Monroe, no asbestos present. And then they have an add-on here. Did you add different properties? Is that what happened?
And that's Angie. That's Angie.
Okay. There should be a combined. Yes, but there's an add-on in A&G, so I'm not sure. Okay, so the total there for, what was the name of it again? ProTech is $6,302.71. They have their proper insurance, riders, and reports, if anybody wants to see them. Next is A&G. This is what I'm talking about. I'm not quite sure what this is.
118.
Oh, it's just it's the same thing. Okay, we got it.
I double checked.
Yeah, 2475. They just retyped what they wrote over here. 47, 1650, 1700. Okay. For A&G, 306 West Canal is $4,700. 117 South Fremont, $1,650. 186 West 7th Street, no asbestos found. 378 East Main, $2,945. 113 West 8th Street, no asbestos. 68 South Clay, no asbestos. 118 East 9th Street, $2,475. 63 West 3rd Street, $1,700. 456 Monroe, no asbestos. For a total of $13,470 for A&G.
You said 118 East 9th with A&G was,
$2,475.
okay. I heard it wrong.
$1,100 cheaper.
Which is really interesting.
Right.
Awesome.
It's a lot.
So are we awarding this as a combined bid, or are we awarding it by property?
Per structure.
Okay.
Yeah. So it looks like Protec was the low bid for 306 West Canal, 117 South Fremont, 378 East Main, 63 West 3rd, with A&G being the low bid for 118 East 9th. Is that what everybody else has?
Yes.
Okay.
I do not see an insurance rider in A&G. Just throwing that out there.
Well, I don't know that we can accept the
I don't-
bid.
Right, and I'm not sure if it was put into the bid specs, but it always is,
Right.
so.
Well, I would hesitate to take Dustin, Counselor.
I was gonna say, without seeing the bid spec, I'm not sure if the
There it is.
I'd say, if nothing else, we might be able to take the one under advisement and accept the other ones.
Sure.
I don't see it.
Right, here it does not call that, any bond or insurance or proof of insurance or any of that to be provided. Typically, I thought it was, especially being that it's the blight program. So, since I guess it's not necessarily in the bid specs, I think we'd be fine then to award that. However, we would require it once it's accepted and before they start to show proof of insurance.
Would you be comfortable with us accepting the Protec low bids and take the A&G bids under advisement? Or is that, or the A&G bid that was the low bid, take it under advisement until we actually get proof of insurance?
I think that is fine.
Okay.
So yeah, if you want to accept, I'll accept the 118 East 9th, take 118 East 9th bid under advisement and award it at a later time and date.
Okay. How does the board feel about that? Would that be?
Fine with that.
Sorry,
Absolutely.
accept the bid, but do not approve it. Accept all the bids as is, and award it at a later date. That'd be how you'd want to do that.
You want us to take this all of them under advisement then?
Well, all right, go ahead and, I would just, motion to accept the bids and then award all except 118 East 9th and take 118 East 9th under advisement.
So we all clear then on
Yes.
that? Okay. Any questions from the public? Okay. Do I have a motion to accept Protec's, I don't know exactly how to word this, Protec's low bids, 306 West Canal, 117 South Fremont, 378 East Main, and 63 West 3rd, and take A&G's bid for 118 East 9th under advisement.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And that is what we shall do there. Is there anything else?
Motion?
I'm sorry.
Is it okay?
Yeah,
We can-
I mean,
There.
it's
And
fine.
who motioned and seconded? I'm sorry. I was
Steve
writing.
motioned, I second.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a zig and a zag as far as the
Yeah.
motion.
I got you.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else that we need to review or go over on any of this? Is there anything else that we need to be brought before the board?
Do you want to mention that we're changing the dates?
Yes, there's been some issue with the amount of, how the Board of Works meetings fall. They fall quite often on a Friday evening, and just in general, because we've tried to keep them to the 1st and the 15th of the month. The way those fall on the calendar aren't ideal by any means, so we're going to be switching the meetings to, refresh my memory one more time,
The
Tish.
first and the third Tuesday of the
Yeah.
month.
Okay, so the 1st and the 3rd Tuesday of the month instead of the 1st and the 15th.
And that starts in August,
Yeah, and it will start in August. Is that the first meeting in August?
the first meeting in August. yes.
Okay. So we'll have one more meeting under the regular schedule, then after that, we're moving to the Tuesday meetings. So, any
I will
questions?
post a new schedule. I'll put plenty of
Right.
copies out here.
Okay.
I'll also run it in the paper and we'll put it on our websites and things.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. If there's nothing else to come before the board, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, thank you, folks.